From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino. Freezing rain is still a problem at this hour in parts of central Indiana, and the winter weather advisory has been expanded. Let's get right to WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory with the Storm Team Alert.
And Amanda, that has been expanded south, so areas just north of Indy, now including Boone, Hamilton, also Madison counties to the north until 9 a.m. with a winter weather advisory because of the freezing rain and the impacts from the freezing rain. We've got some icing ongoing. Hamilton County, Howard County, and Tippecanoe have experienced the most power outages. About 14,000 customers without power. Last update that I saw as far as that's concerned. Temperatures right around the freezing mark, and I mentioned the power outages, those from Duke Energy. All of this drifts to the north. The pink represents the light freezing rain. Then you've got some snow just north of Lafayette toward Monticello to Peru. This will continue the next few hours, and I think with the added impact of some winds lead to these isolated power outages continuing. Crawfordsville to Tipton, lower 30s, below freezing in Peru as well. Additional icing, less than 1/10 of an inch, but it will be slick from Indy north first thing in the morning.
And we could learn more about the mass shooting tragedy on Adams Street when formal charges are filed against the 17-year-old suspect. Police arrested the teen early this morning. He's accused of killing 6 people on Sunday, including a pregnant woman, her unborn baby, and members of his own family. Details shared with WRTV Investigates suggest the teen opened fire on his parents, siblings, and the pregnant woman after he faced punishment for leaving his home without permission. The suspect's teenage brother survived the shooting. He ran and asked a neighbor for help before being rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
We have a 16-year-old victim who suffered a traumatic incident, and we as a community need to wrap our arms around this young man as well. He's going to have a lot of things to worry and think about the rest of his life.
Metro Police say they are not looking for any other suspects in the case. Again, formal charges have not been filed yet against the 17-year-old arrested today. And the victims are identified as 42-year-old Kezzy Childs, 42-year-old Raymond Childs, 19-year-old Kiara Hawkins and her unborn baby, 18-year-old Elijah Childs, and 13-year-old Rita Childs, who was a student at Indianapolis Public Schools. Some family friends gathered at the scene of the attack this afternoon to pay their respects. India Hammond and Anastasia Dittman say they knew Kezzy Childs since high school.
She was just a wonderful woman, wonderful mother, soon-to-be grandmother. She was just, even the family, everyone was just great.
I've been heartbroken since I heard it because this doesn't make sense. It's senseless. They're good people. I don't know why this took place. I don't know what led to it. I'm very sure people are going to assume whatever it is that they want to assume. But the bottom line is they didn't deserve this. They were good people. I know her heart. I know how she was raised. She was a good person.
Hammond says she spoke to a surviving son in the child's family. She says he and others are trying to cope as best they can. And now to the latest on the pandemic. Just over 1,000 Hoosiers have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. For now, vaccine appointments are available to people over the age of 70, first responders and healthcare workers. Tonight, WRTV's Cornelius Hawker shows you why parents and educators want teachers to be included on that list as schools continue in-person learning.
The Indiana Coalition for Public Education is joining the state's largest teachers union and asking health officials to make teachers a priority when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines.
That vaccine has not come for us. So I feel like there's a lot of confusion and frustration.
Kristen McMurtry is the chair for the Northwest Indiana Coalition for Public Education. Along with being a teacher, she's a mom of 2 boys who've been impacted by this pandemic.
Both been quarantined in turn because of a close contact at school.
Kristen and Carrie Mixa, chair for Monroe County's Coalition for Public Education, tell me they want our state to listen to the federal government.
The CDC issued guidelines, treat teachers as essential workers, and our organizations believe that Indiana should follow those guidelines. It will show that the state values what they do and values their safety.
All of the states around Indiana are vaccinating or plan to vaccinate their teachers soon. Kristen lives close to the Illinois state line and knows fellow teachers who live and work there.
Sometimes folks from Illinois sort of look to their friends to the east and wonder what our state's priorities are. And it's hard to give them an answer.
Both of these ladies would love to be able to join other states around us and beyond who are vaccinating teachers against COVID-19.
Ultimately, what we want is that in-person safe experience for every single child who chooses that. And we want to make sure that we are giving our families everything we possibly can to make that environment for them.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
The teachers were prioritized in Indiana's original vaccination plan, but that was changed to focus on people at risk because of their age. The federal government has recommended teachers and grocery store workers be prioritized over those between the ages of 65 and 75. A former Marsh supermarket in Fishers is now a COVID-19 vaccination site. It has the space to vaccinate more than 1,600 people per day. That is not happening now because there is not enough supply. Currently, the state is allocating 1,000 doses of the Moderna vaccine a week to the site.
It's important to be as ready as possible for vaccinating as many people as we can. The goal is to get those shots in arms as soon as they arrive. So that's what we're now well positioned to do.
I want to get through this onto the next year and be able to spend some more time with your family and friends and more activities and get back to what we all consider a normal life.
Linda Van Veerzen and around 300 other people were vaccinated at the site today. You can register for a vaccine by going to ourshot.in.gov or by calling 211. Remember, supply is limited, so you are not guaranteed to get an appointment. Health officials recommend checking the website frequently. The number of COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals across Indiana is at its lowest since early November. According to the State Department of Health, hospitalizations were at 2,045 people yesterday. 2,210 new positive cases of the virus were reported yesterday. Anyone who lives or works in Indiana can still get a COVID test for free. You can find a link to register at coronavirus.in.gov. Early pandemic frustration with her hair has led one Indianapolis woman down a whole new path. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows you how an entrepreneur's small business was born by accident.
At the start of the pandemic, I cut out my hair off like most women did. And I'm not a stranger to short hair, as you can see, so it was no big deal, but I found out I had a bald spot.
With plenty of time on her hands, Nikila Majors started experimenting and researching ways to grow her hair back. That's when she first learned about fresh aloe, which changed her life when she started putting it in her hair.
I was really embarrassed about my bald spot, but one day I was just like, oh man, I didn't even realize my hair had grew in. I just wasn't even paying it any attention. And so I was like, oh man, my hair grew in. I think I might share this with Facebook.
After just one post on Facebook, people began asking if Majors would sell her creations, which was never part of the plan.
And I was like, no, I'm not selling it. I'm just showing you guys my results. And one of my friends, Jen, hit my inbox and she was like, are you crazy? She was like, absolutely, you are selling this.
In just a single day, Majors had accidentally started a business now called Miss Nikki's Butters, a line of all-natural hair and body products made for men and women. Less than a year later, Majors' products are getting positive reviews, but she says this wasn't her first time stepping into entrepreneurship.
I think I've started like 15 million businesses and not all are successful.
Majors encourages other people ready to start their own business to take that leap of faith, but not before knowing what they're jumping into.
No blind faith like that. We don't quit your job today with 2 sales. I think a lot of people put it as something really glamorous, like you can just jump right out there with body butter or a candle or something and make it big. And that's not really the way it goes. You really have to do some education behind it.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Now to Washington, where impeachment proceedings against former President Trump took a step forward today. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze explains what happens next.
A historic night in the very same Senate chamber that was stormed by pro-Trump rioters less than 3 weeks ago.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
For the second time in just over a year, the House delivering an article of impeachment against former President Trump to the Senate, clearing the way for a trial. This time the charge, incitement of insurrection.
Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States.
Democrats say Trump must be held accountable for encouraging his supporters to march on the Capitol.
If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And then standing by, tweeting unfounded claims of a rigged election and targeting Vice President Mike Pence as rioters stormed the building shouting this. The impeachment article also accuses Trump of trying to subvert and obstruct the results of the election by pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State to find nearly 12,000 votes to help him win.
He has not demonstrated remorse. He has not even acknowledged his role in the events of January 6th. And he has never disavowed the lies that were fed to the American people by him about who actually won the election.
On Tuesday, senators will be sworn in as jurors in the trial, which is set to start the week of February 8th. At least 17 Republicans would need to vote with Democrats to convict Trump. A conviction could open the door to a second Senate vote, barring Trump from running for federal office again.
As I look at the Constitution, it says that impeachment is for removal and keeping someone from running for office again.
Now, the Constitution states the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides over an impeachment trial, but that's only the case for sitting presidents. So Senator Patrick Leahy, the longest-serving Democrat in the Senate, will oversee the proceedings of this trial, and he is vowing to be impartial. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
What our study showed was a seemingly bottomless ability of young people to believe what their eyes see on the screen.
Coming up, there's a new nationwide effort to teach students how to separate information from influencers and fact from fiction.
We couldn't be happier to be able to welcome a very small, socially distanced audience back to hear us perform live.
If you have missed watching concerts and performances live and in person, one local organization will welcome an audience this weekend.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Tonight we're putting the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra in the spotlight as the organization prepares to perform this weekend. For the first time in a year, the ICO will host an indoor concert with an audience. Saturday's show at Clues Memorial Hall is called Happy Birthday Mozart. It's a celebration of the iconic composer's works. Music director and principal conductor Matthew Kramer says he knows patrons are excited to see the orchestra in person again, and the feeling is mutual.
There are many people who are hungry, I know personally, to come back in, as long as it's safe, as long as we follow all protocol, are very eager to come back and experience the community aspect of a concert and to get out of their living room. Our last program was January 2020 with an audience, so things have been remarkably different for us throughout all of this. We did come back together for the 2 virtual programs, but with no audience, it's as surreal as you can imagine. You finish playing a piece, you have this exhilaration of a job well done, and you turn around and there's silence coming from the hall.
COVID safety precautions will be in place for the performance, including limited capacity, masks, and no intermission to limit walking around the venue. And for music fans who do not feel comfortable attending the show in person, Executive Director Dana Stone says there will be a virtual option.
We want to continue presenting online because there are people that cannot come, that are not healthy enough to take any sort of risk. And we respect that, and we also understand that those people need the access to music maybe more than the ones that can come.
For more information about the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra, including how to get tickets for Saturday's concert and feature shows, go to WRTV.com and click on this story. Kevin?
Most areas, I would say, are at or above freezing, but not all areas. Obviously, we've got the power outages, Hamilton, Tippecanoe, and Howard counties. As you look at temperatures, from Crawfordsville to Frankfort, Tipton, portions of Hamilton County, that's where we've had reports there with temperatures just below the freezing mark. Lafayette is starting to climb a bit right now. That icy situation from Indianapolis north. A lot of the main roads you may find okay, but just don't be surprised by bridges, overpasses, and any untreated surfaces first thing in the morning. Again, we've expanded the advisory from Lebanon through Noblesville, all of Hamilton County, and areas north through about 9 a.m. The wind doesn't help things as far as any power lines concerned. It was still gust over 20 miles per hour into the early morning hours. You've got rain, just plain old cold rain, southern Indiana. From Indianapolis north toward Lafayette, Kokomo, their shore, mixture of freezing rain, maybe a melting snowflake in there, and then the northern portion of the state, snow. Well, lots of snow. Where there's no ambiguity about temperature and it's all snow, could see 8 to 12 inches central Iowa. It looks like 4 to 8 inches headed to Chicago, so not the day to take off and head to the Windy City first thing in the morning. Temperatures tomorrow, eventually solidly above the freezing mark. We may have that wintry mix first thing northern half of the state, then we go for melting anything that's still around as temperatures are in the upper 30s. As we go through the day, Wednesday, our next opportunity for some snow, light accumulating snow, central southern Indiana, afternoon into Thursday morning, so from late Wednesday afternoon into late Wednesday night and Thursday morning. As far as snowfall potential, around an inch in many spots, maybe a little more than that to the south, but this is still fairly early. The temperature will be back down from the upper 30s tomorrow into the lower 30s by the time we get to the afternoon hours with that snow on Wednesday. There are your high temperatures, quite a bit colder than tomorrow. As we go to the weekend, another storm system, this one primarily rain, may have some snow mix in at times. 41 though Saturday, 38 with that chance of a rain snow mix on Sunday. Don't be surprised. First thing in the morning north of Indy, there will be slick conditions until we warm up. Amanda?
Thank you, Kevin. WRTV and our parent company Scripps are marking News Literacy Week with stories to help you navigate the credibility of news and other content and identify different types of misinformation. Students are expected to learn history, science, and English, but some educators feel critical thinking skills need to be taught on another subject, the internet. Reporter Amanda Brandeis looks at an effort to make that happen across the country.
There's a lawsuit in America with someone. For younger generations, navigating the digital world is like riding a bike.
Can operate digital devices with fluency, and they can upload an iMovie at the same time that they're texting you.
But how well can they vet the information on their screen?
The one word we used to summarize it was bleak.
Sam Weinberg and his team at Stanford University started asking this question in 2014, testing thousands of students from middle school to college.
What our study showed was a seemingly bottomless ability of young people to believe what their eyes see on the screen.
Over 80% of middle school students couldn't tell the difference between an ad or a news story. Rather than verifying this Russian-made video on Facebook, 52% of students believed it showed strong evidence of voter fraud in the 2016 election.
Right along with the pandemic, we are deeply engaged in fighting an infodemic.
His team created the Civic Online Reasoning, or core curriculum. By deploying strategies used by fact checkers at leading news outlets, they created lessons for teachers.
Fact checkers don't just examine one source. They look at multiple sources.
His lessons are open to any educator for free, helping to teach students skills like how to vet social media claims.
Fake Facebook pages for made-up grassroots communities that then had real offline rallies.
Weinberg says it's helping move the needle. In one study, core curriculum students scored an average 2 points higher on an evaluation of online sources, compared to just over half a point in a control group.
I said, we need this in nutrition. There is so much disinformation in nutrition, and it is so attractive.
Professor Priscilla Connors embedded the curriculum in her college nutrition class.
How do I address the fact that they're defaulting to influencers, they're defaulting to social media sites?
Through 1-hour lessons each week, students began to think more critically.
Any individual or group can buy a .org domain without passing a character test or proving they're working for social betterment.
I think it fits right in there with everybody should learn how to drive a car before they get their driver's license. And where do we do most of our traveling right now? online.
Teachers can integrate the free lessons into classes like history and biology.
What age should we start talking about this type of thing with our students? And my response is, as soon as they have a smartphone in their back pocket.
Weinberg believes these lessons can help build immunity to misinformation and disinformation, skills needed to fight a growing infodemic. I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
.com.
Pacers facing the same opponent for a second straight night. This one was a much better result than the first. Brad Brown has a recap of tonight's action from Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
Pacers Raptors, the rematch. Monday night at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Toronto took the first one. Pacers will have another injury of concern to deal with, though. In the first quarter, Domantas Sabonis bumped knees with TJ Lowry. Sabonis would play most of the remaining minutes of that quarter, but once he checked out, he did not return. Reports that an MRI did not show anything too serious, but will be something to watch in the days ahead. In his absence, the rest of the lineup really stepped up. Jeremy Lamb's third game back from his injury, 22 points off the bench, 33 minutes, the most since he returned. Pacers had a 1-point lead going to the fourth quarter, and that's when the Malcolm Brogdon show filled the spotlight again. Another career high with 36 points. He got to the line 14 times, really controlled every bit of the game down the stretch. He'll be the guy the Pacers continue to lean on. They did it Monday night to the tune of a 129-114 win, a season-high scoring total for the blue and gold.
You know, for me, being a leader on this team, I wanted to come out, and I know if I could have a really good game, I'd give my team a chance to win and beat this team. Toronto was a really good team. They are a really good team, and I thought we had multiple guys step up to the plate and play good basketball tonight.
Pacers play at Charlotte on Monday night. Championship game of the boys basketball. City tourney, third straight year with Cathedral and Attucks meeting for the title. Cathedral got the early lead. Jake Davis hits for three. He scored 16. 1 of 3 in double figures for Cathedral. Attucks comes right back. 3 of their own. Isaiah Stafford drains that one. He led the Tigers with 17 points. Game was tight in the middle quarters. Jackson Edwards the steal for the Irish, the putback underneath, a 17-point showing. Cathedral trying to put a little distance between the teams. Jalen Johnson drives and scores, but slow to get back on the ding. And here comes Donovan Scott flying up the court, and there he goes, slamming it home for Attucks. But in the end, Cathedral would pull away in this one. Tayshawn Comer also had 16 drives and scores, a 69-59 win. Irish take the championship to go along with their 2019 city win. The Butler men will get back to action Tuesday at Connecticut. The Bulldogs' Friday game against Seton Hall was postponed after what turned out to be a false positive COVID-19 test on the BU roster. It was an unexpected break in the schedule. We'll see if that disrupts what's been an upward trend for the Bulldogs. They're back home Friday night to face Xavier. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Digestive Health.
A ray of light is coming to Indianapolis International Airport. Today, Sun Country Airlines announced plans to bring flights to Indianapolis International Airport. A Minneapolis route will start on May 28th, and a nonstop flight to Orlando begins on September 2nd. Sun Country bills itself as an ultra-low-cost airline with routes between the U.S., Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. The company is based in the Twin Cities.
The overall coverage and intensity of our rain and light freezing rain will diminish over the next couple of hours. It's still slick first thing in the morning, especially north of Indy. 39, the afternoon high. Tomorrow, 31 with some light accumulating snow potential as we get to Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. Amanda?
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Good night.